had my 83rd birthday on Monday. I am certainly retired. I only retired 3 years ago, but I did finally. I had taken nonviolent communication classes, various nonviolent communication classes for several years, and that introduced me to nonviolent communication in general. I did not have a warm relationship with my children, and I wanted that. It's a little hard to think back because it's been several years, but that was high in my consciousness at that time. Well, let's see. I mean, I took it twice. I did 2 full-year intensives, um, and I'm guessing here. I'm thinking 6 years ago and 8 years ago. It was an enormous impact. One part of the program, as you know well, is what's called making amends. And I was particularly focused on that because my daughter and I had a dispute about some property, and it resulted we hadn't spoken for 4 years at that time. So I was really taken by this making amends idea. We practiced the making amends process. We actually took roles and did a role play in effect, and I learned. And I remembered, and I studied it. And then when I got back home, I met with my daughter, and in 8 minutes in the cab of her SUV, I did the making amends process with my daughter, and it broke the ice, and we are now warmly connected. It ended 4 years of standoff and no talk. And I am deeply, deeply grateful. The process is impressive. You know, I've used that process since the making amends process quite a lot, and it has been. I mean, not dramatic like that, but it's been useful, very useful. We all have things that we have to make amends for periodically. It's inevitable in life, and having a map and knowing the steps and being able, therefore, to stick to the steps and not get into justifications and explanations and all of that, it can be very powerful. In my consulting work, I wouldn't really use the mediation skills in a formal sense. In other words, my clients wouldn't have known what I was asking them to say or do. But from my point of view, I did use those skills in my understanding of my clients and my being able to be a good listener, empathic listener for them, whatever they were experiencing. The area of consulting that I was in was fraught with difficulty for my clients, and it was really important that I be able to be compassionate with the difficulties they were experiencing. Generally, I would just say that it's a kind of learning that is really important, I think, and hard to find any other way. So, like I said at the beginning, I've taken lots of NVC classes, but nothing really impacted my way of being with other people like this program. There's something about the immersion, something about the intensity of the experience and the material and the maps that one learns that is, it goes beyond what I've experienced in other NVC classes. What would life have been like had I learned this way earlier? I wish I had learned this way earlier. It brings tears to my eyes to even imagine. I mean, I might have had a lot less conflict in my life. I see now with such clarity how useless and painful it has been to have been as stubborn as I used to be, and to have not understood how how to make amends, or how to be empathic, or how to really connect with other people. And my children, for example, I mean, I'm developing a warm relationship with most of my children. One son won't speak to me still, and that's because I learned NVC too late. And he had already come to that decision, like I was completely hopeless, and he wasn't going to ever talk to me again, which has been his policy. Um, um, but my other children, we are developing increasing levels of warmth and connection, and it's very valuable.